Nova Scotia's EMO asked to use the hall as a registration center for residents of Portapitt who had fled their homes.
For residents of Portapitt who had fled their homes.
An RCMP officer was posted here in a cruiser. By this time, police were on the hunt for the shooter who was impersonating a police officer. At 10:30 a.m., two RCMP officers fired multiple shots outside the hall. Sources have told CTV News the officers thought they were firing at the suspect, and it was in fact a Mountie.
And it was in fact a Mountie.
This program is brought to you in part by.
Why don't you get yourself some turned down collars? Much more than thinking.
The thing, Hastings. Do you think Poirot consults himself with mere thingness?
No, I...
The turned down collar is the symptom of decay of the great cells.
People keep pushing. I can't thank all of the hard work. Three fellow YouTubers who are working very hard on this. Rage in the Cage, LTT, and they are fantastic guys, really did bust and stepping up to the plate. There's a certain amount of saying certain things, and also likewise, all of the people are volunteering information and time. Like I said, on the Discord, or sending me anonymous information. It is fantastic.
Oh my. Okay, do I have my microphone on? Geez, I had that unplugged. Glenn B, how's it going? How's it going, everybody, tonight? All right. It may be repetitive for some of you. I apologize if it is. I've left links below for the Rick Howe show. I will try and download it so that I have a copy of it. And I've archived the Stephen Maher article. And so Harry Bond was on today with Rick. I haven't listened to it, so we can enjoy together. Bush baby, hello. Leah, Beth, Michael, how's it going there? Francis, is it Francis or Francis? I think it's Francis, isn't it? Hope all is well. Thank you. Better, we have snow here, for Christ's sake. I shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain, but yes, there's snow. So yes, I thought we could run through that. Obviously, there's also been a purge on YouTube. Many of you may be aware of that, obviously, and so we'll just keep sticking around for as long as we can. I did find it interesting that I have all of my old videos because, yes, I used to do things before Nova Scotia, which was slightly in a different vein and maybe on a bigger vein. And I had some videos which were accepted over on BitChute. I went over there today. I'll just put this in here. Only to find out, so all of my videos, older videos are on lockdown here. I took one out, as some of you may be aware, at one point in time, just for personal use, unlisted for a moment, and they banned it immediately. Not unusual, I've had that happen, but also it gave me a big warning, which sits on my account all the time now. If I want to say anything, apparently next thing I say, they're going to give me a strike. Boo. So I went over to BitChute to check out my BitChute channel, and lo and behold, this is what happens. I guess they don't like my old stuff. So I'm lucky that not banned on YouTube yet, like some of my friends, which is unfortunate. I haven't called Polly. I really feel terrible for her. She's the closest person I know on YouTube, and that got banned. And that, I mean, just horrible. Really, I mean, where are we at if we're controlling people's narratives? This is not the way that we do things. People are allowed to say whatever they want to say. I'm not going to weigh in on any of it because that's, up to everybody else. But I have my opinions on things. But people should be entitled to say whatever in the hell they want to say. However, that's just not part of the plan. Christina, Karen. Oh, I hear my dog in the background. I think somebody may have arrived. Okay, so we'll just run through these things quickly. I'm going to mute my microphone. I think I have it all queued up. Please let me know if the audio is okay. Yeah, let's get right into it.
But up first this hour, some frustration on the part of family members of the victims of the mid-April murder spree that claimed the lives of 22 Nova Scotians. They're wondering, when will a public inquiry get underway? You might recall the province's initial reluctance for an inquiry, opting instead for a review. But after pressure from family members and the public, the province and the federal government relented and agreed to hold a public inquiry. That was in July. We're now here on October the 16th. Joining me this morning is Harry Bond. His parents, Peter and Joy Bond, were residents of Portapique. They were among the gunman's first victims. Good morning to Harry. Hi, Harry.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
As good as it can be.
Good. Again, how frustrated you are that it seems to be, I'm not sure what the reasons are, why we haven't seen any kind of announcement, why this hasn't even got underway yet. What are your thoughts on that?
It's frustrating. I mean, we're 6 months in after the whole incident happened. I mean, they told us we're going to have an inquiry. We don't really care how long it's going to take, but they got to get this thing going. It's like you said, it's in July they told us, and then here it is October.
I wonder if there's, if they're, as I pointed out, their initial reluctance to have a public inquiry might be behind. I'm not suggesting they're dragging their heels, but again, why is it taking so long?
We don't know. I mean, they just won't. There's no answers, and that's the frustrating part. We're not getting any answers. Any answers that we do get on what happened, we hear it from the news. We don't hear it from them.
So nobody's been in touch. Again, nobody from government, either the province or the federal government's been any kind of contact on any kind of regular basis with with you and other family members.
No.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's the only thing you can think is they're dragging their heels.
Yeah. Again, a lot of people scratching their heads right now as to what is taking so long. Are you part of this class action that Patterson Law is behind here right now?
We are.
Maybe I'm just suggesting here. This is pure speculation. I'm just wondering maybe that's the reason for this delay. But again, who knows if nobody's been in touch with you or other family members at all. Tell me about that weekend, Harry. What do you recall from that? I guess it took you a couple of days before you're able to, find out the fate of your mom and dad, huh?
Well, that weekend was just the beginning of the hell that we've been in for the past 6 months. I got a phone call from my brother. He had a friend of his stop in and say that there was something going on in that area. So my brother checked it out online and found out that it was in mom and dad's backyard. And he tried to get them and he couldn't reach them. He got a hold of me, and the two of us tried to get answers from RCMP and get a hold of mom and dad, and it's just didn't get nowhere. So as of Monday morning, I called my brother, told him to get ready. The wife and I jumped in the truck. We picked him up. We went down. When I got to the roadblock, I just told him that truck ain't leaving until we get our answers. They brought out sergeant of major crime scene, and hats off to him. He couldn't have been any better. He went above and beyond, got the answers himself for us, and of course it ain't what we wanted to hear, but the guesswork was over.
Yeah. They were neighbors of the gunman, right?
No, they was not. They were down. He was up on the government beach road. They lived down just off of the private beach road on the orchard.
Was there any connection? Did they know who this fellow was at all before?
I'm sure they knew him because they lived there for 15 years.
Yeah.
But as far as being friends, no. They live right across from the Blueberry Field, the emergency fire road. So and they were next door neighbors to the Ducks.
Okay. Your dad, Peter, your mom, Joy. Tell us about them. I know they were retired, living in Portapique. How long have they been in Portapique? Were they longtime residents or?
No, they moved there 15 years ago. That was their retirement home. Mom always wanted a house close to the water, so that's what they gave her. And but they were missing their grandchildren and great grandchildren, so they were talking about moving back, and it was going to happen either this year or next year.
Boy, sad, real sad. I understand that property, as many properties are, is up for sale. In fact, many properties have already been sold, from what I gather.
There's properties down there that was nothing to do with the incident, but they just, after it happened, they just didn't want to be there no more. So those went up for sale and sold, and some of the other residents have sold. As we have mom and dad's up for sale, but we still have it.
Yeah. I know that there's been some criticism about how the RCMP has handled this whole thing. In fact, that's going to be one of the questions answered in the public inquiry. But you mentioned that RCMP sergeant, you say, went above and beyond. Your thoughts about police and how that whole situation was handled that weekend?
I mean, certain officers, such as that sergeant at the major crime scene, I mean, like I say, hats off to him. But as far as the RCMP goes, no, my my thoughts ain't good. They definitely messed up. That's part of the heels being dragged. Like there's things being hidden or trying to be hidden, and it can be seen. I mean, like I said in one of my interviews, if you watch them on the news, the same person gets 3 interviews, their stories change. If you're telling the truth, your story ain't going to change.
You just want answers, right? Just answers.
We all want answers. It's been long enough. They got to get things rolling here.
Well, hopefully, again, by going public, and other family members are speaking out as well. We've had conversations too with Robert Pinio, the lawyer behind the class action lawsuit, and again, there's just a lot of people and a lot of Nova Scotians looking for answers as to how this could have happened, how police did respond, and why the gunman did what he did. Harry Bond, I know this is still very difficult times for you and your brother. My condolences on the passing of your mom and dad, and I appreciate that you shared a few moments with us here this morning. Thank you very much, and hopefully soon we'll all get the answers to these ongoing questions.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Have a great day, sir. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Harry Bond, again, one of the sons of one of the first to die at the hands of that gunman back in mid-April in Portapique and beyond. 10:15.
Okay, so there is a real human component. Thank you very much, Bush Baby. I appreciate you talking to him. I purposefully don't go out of my way to speak to them, anybody. I figured that they're going through a lot. I do speak, obviously, with some families, and I hope to speak with more. It would be really good to have, some conversations about their family members collectively. I'm just referring to all 23. Just so that we get a feel for the human component, because the human component is really, as Francis said, quite heartbreaking. Evening, Point Fire. Okay, so I thought we could listen to a couple of more interviews. I think one of them has been edited, to the best of my knowledge, of Harry's. And then we can go through the Stephen Maher article together. So let's go. I think I've got everything queued up, hopefully. So it was obviously, I'm going to try and go in chronological order. I think it's chronological order. Anyway, this is the first interview that he did. And, and I obviously have the deepest respect for Harry. He has really held his composure. I mean, frankly, I know there's no way I could. No way. He's and it's not singling out, the RCMP and saying all of them are bad. There was a big problem and there's a big cover up going on, as I think we all know, and the RCMP don't want to talk true. All right, let's listen to the first interview that they did.
We turn now to two brothers who lost their parents last weekend. The men spoke today of the tragedy that has devastated their families. After losing contact with their parents on Saturday night, the brothers didn't learn their fate until more than 30 hours later. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has their story.
Peter and Joy Bond raised their two sons, Harry and Corey, near Chester, Nova Scotia. 13 years ago, looking to begin a new chapter, the couple moved away to this quiet Nova Scotia hamlet.
Portapique was their retirement home.
Peter, 74, was a retired truck driver. Joy, 4 years younger than her husband, was a former cook and stay-at-home mom.
Soft-hearted, kind people.
Sunday morning, when they heard about the shootings, both brothers tried frantically to reach their parents.
Tried their cell phone, no answer. So then I called my brother.
Older brother Harry tried repeatedly.
Mom's cell phone was on. It was ringing, but nobody was answering. I mean, your mind runs a million miles a minute.
As they followed the tragic events on social media, they feared the worst.
I knew something was wrong.
After a sleepless Sunday night, the brothers drove to Portapique on Monday. After 35 hours of not knowing the status of their parents, they were finally told by the RCMP that both were dead.
About 3:30 Monday afternoon.
Killed in their home just before bedtime.
I mean, they were in their pajamas ready to go to bed.
Harry Bond says his parents did not know the shooter, and based on early reports, he's been told their home in Portapique was not one of the ones burned.
We're still unable to go down and see it for ourselves. For what we've heard, no, it hasn't been burned.
Peter and Joy Bond were parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Harry says the loss is beyond comprehension, but the support his family has received has already helped heal his broken heart.
All the phone calls, messages, text messages, comments on Facebook, it's overwhelming. People that I don't know, people I've never ever heard of.
Both sons want all Nova Scotians to know when the pandemic ends, they'll have a funeral here in Chester.
And we're going to give our parents the service they deserve.
To celebrate the lives of their parents and to help a family try to heal from this tragedy. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Chester, Nova Scotia.
Okay. So, I mean, how tragic, right? 35 hours. Unbelievable. And frankly, that was one of the quicker, which is really sad, one of the quicker notifications. And I think that's because they just were so adamant and prompt, and very good on the one RCMP officer for letting them know. Let's see.
day, every night. I don't sleep very much.
Harry Bond lost his parents, Peter and Joy Bond, in the April shooting spree that started in Portapique. And the pain of that will never go away. But answers to the many lingering questions could help to provide some closure, which is why so many have called for a public inquiry.
Public inquiry, everything will be put out on the table where it should be. So the province and Canada can learn from what their mistakes, what they did wrong.
Instead, the federal and provincial governments announced a joint independent review, calling it the best option.
There was no one that outright asked for a review.
But that's exactly why family members are calling it a slap in the face.
We don't need people telling us what they believe we need. We need them to listen to us and give us the public inquiry.
Across the province, Nova Scotians are sharing the frustration. In less than 24 hours, thousands have already signed yet another petition calling for a public inquiry. But Senator Mary Coyle, who had been among those calling for a public inquiry from the start, says it never should have come to this.
The public speaking out is very important, but the public spoke out before this announcement, and the public was always calling for a full, open, and comprehensive public inquiry.
Among one of the biggest concerns being raised about the review is the lack of teeth. Unlike a public inquiry, a review can't subpoena evidence and can't compel anyone to testify under oath. But the Premier insists the three-person panel will have all the resources they need for the job.
If they are at a point where they need more power or they need more support to be able to get to those answers, you come to our government and we'll respond to them.
But family members say that's not good enough, and Bond says the review just isn't acceptable.
We want the public inquiry, and we will fight until we get it.
Alicia Drous, Global News, Halifax.
Fucking button never seems to work. That was an out-and-out lie. In fact, he contradicted himself in the same press conference, saying that a reporter asked about the review, and he said that we know that the families want the inquiry, but we're going to go with a review. So in the same interview, they lied, and I believe it was also Furry. So Furry lied himself, like it wasn't contradiction between Furry and Blair. So unbelievably atrocious, of course. Now I'm seeking the truth for all of them, for us at a very minimal level in comparison. Tara is a friend. But sadly, I think that they've got things kind of sewn up, but I think many people are waking up to this one, which is pretty good. It's a very sad state of affairs that we're all in, but I think if we keep pushing, we're going to get the answers.
There's a lot of stuff that's been brought out in just media. I mean, we hear from you, it's hurtful. You don't know what to believe when you watch them on the news they have 4 or 5 different interviews at different times, and every interview they have, their words are different. They're stabbing themselves in the back, two-facing themselves. You wonder what the hell it is they're hiding and what they're not telling, because everybody can see it. If you're telling the truth, your story's not going to change. Their stories do change, so they're lying. You watch their body language, you can tell they're lying. It's not right.
Which is totally true. What are they hiding? I think we've all got that figured out, at least in terms of what are they hiding. It's massive. Massive. I haven't even got this one quite figured out, but I'll tell you, it's fucking big. It's not please don't buy into the incompetence picture that they're trying to paint. That's absolute horseshit. They're using different ways, whether they'll bring out different people, say, oh, this is easily explainable, the disinformation, or the the disinformation on this is a tough one. And he's speaking to that too. Like, families don't get notified of information by and large, and from what I've heard from family members, and I've read the emails, so I know that they don't get informed until shortly before a press conference is going to happen. This is how they're notified of things, and it's coming from the media. So we know there's a problem, and we know that the media scrubs things and has been for some time. So we've got this is going to be a battle that is fought with minds, and which I really appreciate all of you putting your effort and time into. Obviously, huge commitment, and one that's quite, it's good. It's just good. How the fuck can they hide something so big? Well, they're working overtime, I'll tell you. They've got some real neat characters in this story. I've never seen it quite to this level, but I've also never seen people push as hard. So please keep up the pressure. I think there are things that we collectively can keep doing. Just keep putting out information. I think all of us working together is really the key. It's all the different groups. It's the different journalists who are pushing for stuff. Blair disgusts me. Doesn't reside. Registered business in the riding he represents. Incompetent cop. Heavily invested in pot monopoly. Well, Furry is yeah, they all are. The attachments that we're seeing, right? People RCMP, lots of RCMP all over the place, family members and things. Let's move on to the next one.
Hello again, everyone. We are hearing first tonight from the son of two of the people who were killed in the April mass murder in Nova Scotia. He is upset that the RCMP are not taking part in an event honoring the victims. Harry Bond has been working on this for months to organize a formal drive this weekend, but today he's learned the RCMP are refusing to lead or participate in the event. CTV's Natasha Pace with his story.
It's hard for Harry Bond to find much peace these days.
I'm not doing good. I'm not going to lie. When people ask me how I am, sometimes I'll say good just because I don't want a bunch of questions. But 90% of the time, I'll tell them I don't know anymore. I don't know how I am. It's day to day.
Harry lost his parents, Joy and Peter Bond, in April's mass shooting, a nightmare he relives daily.
Something you watch on TV. It's a horror movie. You shut it off, you go to bed. We can't shut this off. Every time we close our eyes, the horror movie turns on. So I know for myself, when I close my eyes, go try to go to bed, I picture my parents being shot.
For the last 3 months, Bond has been organizing a memorial drive, a way to remember the 22 victims and unborn child who perished. The event will run from Chester to Peggy's Cove on Saturday.
I chose Peggy's Cove because it's an icon. My mother loved lighthouses. It's along the coast, and along the coast, it's peaceful. You hear the waves crashing. Where are you going to find angels? You're going to find them where it's peaceful.
Bond has a permit for the event and even bought insurance, but found out this morning that RCMP won't lead the memorial drive or block intersections along the route. He says because of safety concerns.
I don't want them to think for 1 minute that I thought I needed them. I can make this happen without them. I want it to be respectful. They did lose an RCMP officer, so I want the police there.
While they say they are supportive of memorial parades, in the statement, RCMP say, "We have been liaising with the family member who is organizing the memorial and have expressed safety concerns regarding the planned route of the event, given the potential number of vehicles and people using certain areas of the route, such as around Queensland Beach on Saturday afternoon. We are more than open to working with the organizers when planning and coordinating an event to ensure it's carried out safely." Bond calls it disrespectful for them not to take part.
This whole thing has been a fight. That shouldn't be a fight. We had to fight for the inquiry. We had to fight for the truth. Now I got to fight to have RCMP lead a memorial drive, block intersections for memorial drive to be respectful. Like, what's this coming to?
Even still, the memorial drive is still set for Saturday morning.
We're leaving Chester at 11 o'clock. Be by the roads. Be out watching us. We're getting on trunk 3, taking trunk 3 right to Tantallon, and then we're going down to Peggy's Cove. We'll be down at Peggy's Cove to be a bagpiper down there playing for us.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Harry Bond says they have been unable to have a funeral service for his mother and father, and he was hoping to get some closure from the event this weekend, an event he assures us will be going ahead with or without the RCMP. Steve?
From Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia, CTV's Natasha Pace. Natasha, thank you.
Interesting how they edited out the 23 part of that. Also interesting if you search using different search engines, how they've scrubbed from, I'll just give you an example. So if you searched for Harry Bond on Google, you'll only come up with a few videos. Whereas if you search with Mozilla, you'll get a few more, which is pretty excellent. This is how the editing works and the scrubbing works. Just to give you a slight example, Mozilla will have videos from from Atlantic CTV, which generally the rest of Canada obviously doesn't see. Maybe you'll see them here. Hey, Little Miss So, Fraud and Corruption UK. Good evening. Good evening. Are you over in the UK? Whereas if you looked on Google, you'll only get a couple. If I put in Harry Bond, Nova Scotia, the same search. And you go to videos, you're not going to get any at the Atlantic. Oh, yeah, actually, here we go. No, see? Cinnamon buns. They don't want people to see certain videos. And Harry talks a lot of truth in those, which is pretty excellent. Again, I have the deepest respect for this man. How he holds it together, I mean, gosh, I don't know. Let's move on to the next one, the final one. And then we're going to look at some pictures from the RCMP. I like to call it, and I don't mean that in a poor light, but I call it the parade, because it was purely a spectacle for the rest of the world to see, to feel sorry for them.
After the tragic shooting spree in April, a motorcade of emergency vehicles was held in honor of Constable Heidi Stevens, one of the 22 victims. But Harry Bond says he was disappointed it was only for Constable Stevens and decided to organize a parade of vehicles in honor of all the victims.
I mean, yes, it was 22 altogether, but you did have an unborn child, so there's 23 lives. And not one life is greater than the other.
Bond's parents, Joy and Peter, were among those killed during the 13-hour shooting spree. The memorial parade on Saturday is his way of honoring all the victims. It will start in Chester and go to Peggy's Cove.
Just think it's a very scenic route, and I believe the 23 angels that gain wings, they'll be there watching us.
Bond has a permit and insurance from the Department of Transportation for up to 350 vehicles. But his plans hit a snag when he asked RCMP to lead the parade and help with road closures.
The head cheese of traffic won't give approval to have RCMP lead or block intersections.
He says RCMP cited safety reasons, but there was no discussing ways to make it safer.
What's the bigger safety issue? Us going with RCMP leading or us going without RCMP leading?
With no RCMP, there will be no road closures. All vehicles will have to obey traffic signals and signs. Bond says that's not an issue, but he does feel the RCMP's decision not to take part is disrespectful.
I want to be respectful. They did lose an RCMP officer, so I want the police there.
RCMP did not respond to an interview request, but in a statement say they've been working with organizers and have expressed safety concerns regarding the planned route, and they are open to working with organizers when planning and coordinating events to ensure that they're carried out safely. The event will go on as planned, with or without RCMP. Bond says ultimately this is about all those who lost their lives and the families they left behind.
I pray it gives us some healing, and if nothing else, the 23 people that gained wings at least put a smile on their faces.
Alicia Drouse, Global News, Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia.
So, again, I mean, he just keeps his composure. He's very polite. He's very respectful. Don't know how he does it, but, you know, can't go to the funeral. Doesn't get notified for 35 hours. Again, one of the quicker notifications, and they don't want to. And I'm pretty sure that there used to be a part to that interview that he said that they haven't worked with him. They say, "Oh, you know, we've worked with him," and then the next clip goes to him, and he says, "They haven't been working with us." That's not true, but I could be wrong. I think somewhere I have the original interview. I don't know. I couldn't find it for some reason. I thought we could look at a few pictures of the RCMP parade. Again, the media is still totally and utterly disrespecting, but there's a point to it. The 23. The families have asked for that. I know why they don't give that to them. I know why. I think we all do, but it's their call. They get to make these kinds of decisions. And obviously, there was 23 people that were killed. Why does the media want to leave that one out? Well, I think we know. Let's go to, because I found a whole bunch of other pictures. I don't know if other people have seen of the parade. If I can find it here. And it's quite shocking. Remembering that at this point in time, Harry hasn't been told. Tara hasn't been told. Many of the families have not been told. This is what they're doing. Instead of telling the families, instead of doing the work, this is what they were doing. Standing around, right? Doing nothing while they wait for the photo op. Who's important in this picture? The people that they were sworn to protect? No, certainly doesn't look like it to me. I don't know. You let me know what you think. This is unbelievable. And with this kind of force that you can have to show for a parade, because this is not for Heidi Stevenson, right? I think we all know that. I have no disrespect, obviously, for Heidi Stevenson. I think it's horrible. This is for the force. This is for you to see the force. And this is not a duplicate. This is just more. I mean, the vehicles are just going and going and going. first responders out there, the fire department, the very ones that they shot up, which they've never apologized publicly for. There's more. And when you see a minivan like that, that's undercover because it's a funeral procession, right? I was so happy to see how many people, obviously, I'm being repetitious by that, but that came out for the Peggy's Cove drive for the 23. Unbelievable. But you see, they didn't want people to see that. They didn't want people to see something like this because it would dwarf them. Dwarf them. And it did. There's still families that have been notified that are literally sitting on the edge of their bed. Have been. Look at that. Unbelievable. Sorry, that's a repeat. Some more here. Look at that. This goes on and on and on. Look at them. Like, can you see in the background? They just don't stop. It just keeps going and going and going. And again, I'm not saying this in any way disrespectful to any of the family members, to Heidi's family or anything. It's absolutely not where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is, why was this not utilized that day to deal with Mr. Wortman? Why is it that they don't want you to see how many people come out and support? That's what it is. It's optics. Optics. They didn't want people to see how many people came out for the 23, the Peggy's Cove. They did not want them to see that. What they wanted to see, because they knew the media was going to cover it, was a stoplight stops people, and then you see a few people. So then the media would get a shot of a few cars, and they'd be like, well, see, nobody came out. Nobody cares about this. Or not that nobody cares about it, but that it's not that big of an issue, and people are seeing things. It's crazy talk. Unbelievable. Not true. Not true. And they plastered this stuff all over the media. Do it. Certain photojournalists. Very interesting cast of characters. Okay, and so we'll wrap this up with the McLean's article, so we can have a read through. We'll attempt to read. The Nova Scotia killer's dark past and a mysterious 300,000. Through a friendship with a disgraced New Brunswick lawyer, a possible real estate scam in 2010, Gabriel Wortman netted hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stephen Maher. And that was just this morning. Of course, this photo ops. These are photo ops. This was all cleaned up very quickly, but they had to get the certain journalists, photojournalists down there who took photos. Look at them. Look at who the photojournalists are and into their stuff. You'll see something quite interesting. The denturist who killed 23 Nova Scotians in April acquired about $300,000 in mysterious circumstances from a estate of a disgraced lawyer who was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. Property and corporate records show that Gabriel Wortman sold 2 Fredericton rental properties belonging to Tom Evans for about $300,000 in 2010 after Evans died at the age of 60. New Brunswick law does not require that wills be probated. That's interesting. Didn't know that. My family would love that. Anyway, and there is no will on file in New Brunswick probate court, so publicly available documents do not show how Wortman came to possess the properties. The man who bought the properties from Wortman and real estate agent who handled the transaction for Wortman say that Wortman claimed to have inherited the properties from his friend. But a woman who served as the director of the holding company that controlled the properties and who spoke to McLean's on the condition that her name not be used, suspects that Wortman got a hold of the properties and sold them by tricking her. Go away. The relationship between the 2 deceased men may explain how Wortman got the money to acquire the property he owned in Portapique. I think that might be a bit low, but where he killed 13 people on April 18th and how he acquired the guns that he used in the crime. Well, money? I don't think it explained how he got the guns. No. On the night of April 18, Wortman, dressed as an RCMP officer, began killing his neighbors and burning properties. He escaped police and continued his rampage until the next day, driving around in a replica RCMP cruiser, shooting people known to him and random strangers. The RCMP who are refusing. Sounds like they're working for me, for you, for those families, refusing to reveal details about Wortman because of a quote-unquote ongoing investigation. I'll have to find that quote from that file where it says certain organized crime groups should just sue the RCMP, and then there's an ongoing investigation, and then they can just commit whatever crime they want. Into the source of the guns he used in the massacre have said the killer had 5 illegal guns, 4 of which were smuggled into Canada from the United States, the 5th through the estate of a deceased associate. And we also know that one of the guns was something that he had back in 2013 that he had back then, so they would have been aware of. The killer's father, Paul Wortman, Paul stealing razor blades, Paul, has said that a friend believed to be Evans helped Wortman get a handgun. He ordered it from the States somewhere, Wortman told satirical Frank magazine in an interview not long after the shooting. Very interesting interview. If you haven't heard it, I believe that he still has it up on his website, Frank magazine, Atlantic. It was a 4-hour interview, which he pared down into, I don't know, probably about a half hour or something like that of different clips. And he said in it that he had contacted CBC prior to doing the interview with Frank. And he had done an interview with them. Did you ever hear anything from CBC from Paul? No. One has to wonder why. Wortman told it was sent from wherever he ordered it in Holton, Maine. His friend gave him the information, probably the arrangements, or told him who to contact. I believe he spoke of a car dealership. He was a manager at a car dealership, or that's where it was sent to, in Holton, Maine. a Chevy dealer. Tom. Paul Wortman said a contact of Evans held the gun for Gabriel, who smuggled it into Canada. Paul Wortman relayed the same story of the origin of the handgun to an investigator working for the families. So we know who that is, right? Probably. Well, I can't say for sure it's Martin, but, and, you know, I, again, am just looking for the truth, and it doesn't, it's just worthy of note, some of the contacts and connections that people have. But I won't touch on that. I showed some of that in my last video, a little bit, and I got a lot of interesting messages back from people who knew a lot of the people on there. I had some questions too. The same story, Mark Furries happened to be on there. The same story of the origin of the handgun to the investigator of the families. According to a summary interview obtained by Maclean's, Paul Wortman called it a, quote, huge handgun. People who knew Wortman say he spoke of smuggling cigarettes across the border from Maine while he still was a student. He told one acquaintance that he did so in a Zodiac inflatable boat. Well, Paul Wortman, as we know from, one of the things I picked up on from Leon's interview was, and from what has been written, is that Mr. Wortman was clearly a bit of a braggart. Does he exaggerate the truth? I would think that's part of it. I think Leon even stated that. Paul Wortman told the investigator that his son was not interested in guns or shooting as a boy, and suggested that he may have become interested in guns through his relationship with Evans. Paul Wortman said that his son became acquainted with Evans through relatives. But when Gabriel Wortman sold the buildings, he told the buyer he did not know Evans when he was renting a room from him while a student at the University of New Brunswick. Quote, what I was told from him is basically that he lived in the properties when he was going to university, and he befriended Evans. Said Gabriel El Zayat. Not sure who that is. They stayed in close contact, and when he passed away, he left his properties. Gabriel Zayat. Does anybody recognize that name? Developer. Oh, okay. Gabriel Wortman was a student at UNB in the late 1980s as Evans' professional life was going off the rails. Fredericton lawyers remember Evans as a colorful and publicity-seeking young lawyer in the early 1980s, and often appeared on the pages of the local Daily Gleaner. He handled high-profile criminal matters, including one case where he defended 5 South American men accused of coming to New Brunswick to try to break 2 accused cocaine smugglers out of prison. More cartel. Cartel, certain organized crime groups. In the late 1980s, he had his own legal problems that ended his career. In 1986, he went to a police complaint about being assaulted by a 19-year-old male prostitute he regularly hired. A jury acquitted the young man, and Evans soon faced charges himself. He was charged with firearms offense after he and some British soldiers frightened children at a Bible camp while skeet shooting near CFB Gagetown. 1987, he was convicted of giving liquor to underage boys and sexually assaulting one of them. Oh, that's rather unsavory. I believe I've heard of this individual a long time ago. He started a business. He was sentenced to 3 months in jail. I haven't read this article, by the way, so I'd rather share that with you The assault took place after 2 teenage boys were arrested by RCMP for drunkenness. Evans had them released into his custody and gave them more liquor. When they passed out, he sexually assaulted one of them. According to the preface of the case from New Brunswick Court of Appeal, Evans, quote, lied to the victim about the whereabouts when a telephone inquiry into his residence was made on behalf of the victim's mother. His plan to seduce the victim was premeditated. Evans appealed the conviction and lost. The Provincial Law Society suspended him, win for the bar, and in 1991 he resigned from the bar, likely to avoid being formally disbarred. At the same time that Evans' career was collapsing, Wortman, then 19, moved from Moncton to Fredericton for university. A college friend, broadcaster, comedian, Candy Palmater, said in an interview, I was looking at her a little while ago, again, because I was looking into some of the people who spoke out quite early about this stuff. In an interview this year, the Chronicle heralds that Wortman struggled at university. He was a bit different. I'm a little bit different. But he was beautiful, and he had a really deep heart. But he was the brunt of everybody's jokes. Spokeswoman for Palmater declined to say. People declining. RCMP decline. Whether she had information about Wortman's relationship with Evans. Quote, Candy will not be speaking about this sensitive issue further, said Denise Tompkins in an email. I'm sorry. I think Candy should be informed. I think if you like to use Twitter, if it's not suspended or whatever the hell is going on there, I would let Candy know that there's 23 Angels families who really would like some answers. And I think the sensitivity, you can put that away for now. That's a bunch of bullshit. Makes me really angry to read that, because that just means I don't want to talk about it. No comment. It's like the Samuelson down in the United States. No comment on that at all. No comment on Brenda's statement. Wortman's friendship with Evans eventually led to a business relationship. Yes, corporate records indicate 1996, when he became president of Northumberland, that he was the holding company that Evans established in 1984 handle his 2 rental properties downtown Fredericton, included Northumberland Street. In 1997, Wortman's signature appeared on a $100,000 mortgage with a private lender on one of the properties. Now, I know if you go back, if you're familiar with earlier videos, of course, which are terribly long, we talked about this like fairly early on. There was a wonderful person who came forward, contacts, always good, and spoke about this individual and spoke about the business arrangement. Now, I haven't, I'm not sold on anything one way or another. I just like to read and file things away, but let's just see. El Zayat, who bought the properties from Wortman after Evans' death, said he was told Evans lived off rental income from those properties, and he lived in one of the buildings himself. El Zayat said Wortman's acquisition of the properties, which he believed was an inheritance, seemed odd to him. Quote, I found it really odd that someone would leave a bunch of properties to a guy. I just found it odd. I remember telling my real estate agent, this is weird. Is it? I don't know. People leave things to people all the time. Corporate records show that in 2008, Wortman was removed from the company. So that information at least verifies, this information verifies what that other person said, because it was the first company. Public records do not outline why there was this change, why this change was made. A friend of Evans, who was the loan director of the company at the time, says Evans was upset with how Wortman was spending money. The former company director was surprised to learn that Wortman had managed to sell the properties belonging to Evans. Tom didn't want Gabe to inherit anything because he felt he was being foolish with his money, so he asked me to sign corporate documents to remove Wortman, she said. Unidentified she. On January 8th, hopefully she feels good about just leaving with anonymous. I'm sure. Anyway, whatever. January 8th, 2010, 2 months after Evans' death, Wortman was reinstated as president of Northumberland Investments. Corporate records show the director believes Wortman tricked her into signing a document that was made possible. Quote, when Tom died, Gabe asked me to sign off or I would become responsible for the debt. So I did. She never saw Wortman again after selling the buildings in February 2010, 3 months after Evans died. Wortman made atypical, quote, atypical cash deposits worth $200,000 and a term deposit worth $46,000, according to suspicious transaction report filed by Toronto Dominion Bank later 2010 to the FinTrack Financial Transactions Report Analysis Center of Canada. Documents show. Oh, well, this is interesting. The CSIS agent that Tim Bousquet used as his very credible source. FinTrack didn't do anything back then either, apparently. Again, this is just, you have to file things away. Is it true? Is it not true? But this is clearly a problem if this is true, that they're not dealing with this. FinTrack should be, and usually almost always in my experience is, all over anything over 10 or over. You gotta be able to account for it right at the bank, and they will come calling, most assuredly. Nova Scotia property quickly come calling. Nova Scotia property records show Wortman bought properties on Portland Street in Dartmouth, where he established a denture clinic, and in Portapique, where he built a cottage September 2010, just months after he sold the Fredericton properties. And we also have to keep in mind, how much are these properties really, truly worth? Lots more than $246,000, even adjusted to those day dollars. Lots more. This estimation that he's worth of, what is it, $1 million and change? Screw off, man. Screw off. I think just the properties down on Portland Street are worth about $900,000. Wortman had a number of property-related disputes. In 2004, he managed to become the owner of one rural Nova Scotia home after befriending a cash-strapped auto body specialist and getting him to sign legal documents. Okay, this is cynic. That he eventually used to gain ownership. 2010, he tried a similar technique with his uncle until a judge put a stop to it. Now, I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that man's name. My apologies. I think Zinnick or Zink. Perhaps Zinnick. I think it's Zinnick. Spoke with Steve very early on and indicated, I'm repeating it, so it's hearsay, but indicated that he never knew Gabriel to be violent. There was not any, this nonsense about violence was not there. So just so we're all operating on the same page here. Property records show that one day before the deed, the Fredericton properties were transferred, Wortman became the director of Berkshire Broman Corporation, another New Brunswick company. The previous owner was Kipling Scott McKenzie. Excuse me. I was talking about him today. A Nova Scotian who was convicted of arson in 1996 and currently facing several charges in provincial court. Wortman later used that company to buy RCMP cruiser he used in his rampage. According to who? Again, who was that according to? That was right, the FinTrack CSIS agent. Just so that we're clear who informed us of that information. CSIS. Which actually I should touch on that before I log off. According to documents filed in court by the RCMP, several other suspicious transaction reports were issued after the shooting concerning Wortman's financial transactions in previous months. According to the CSIS agent, Tim Bousquet's, where he furnished zero, that would be right, zero proof, as he torpedoed Paul. Seemed very convenient. Oh, put the tinfoil on. Really? No. Is she CSIS? 100%. On March 20th, Wortman withdrew $475,000 from Brink's cash depository in Dartmouth. Documents filed in court, RCMP, say the money was from investments and the pickup was arranged by CIBC. Balls, you can't go down to Brink's and pick up money. Go ask your bank if you can do that. You cannot do that. They will bring it down to the bank for you at a prearranged time, because you have to book about a week in advance to do that. And it's all counted out for you in the vault, and you sign a paper. I am astutely aware of how that's done. When McLean's first revealed the transaction in June, RCMP declined to comment, although RCMP sources said the transfer appeared to have the hallmarks of a payment to a confidential informant. There's been so much of a snow job from the beginning. That's absolutely right. The whole thing. I think you can basically disregard most anything that you read. But they're playing catch up as it goes. Don't worry. The more questions you ask, you know what? They'll just furnish another of these with a coat being thrown in the woods or some nonsense. The RCMP has angrily rejected questions. Well, I thought they were trying to solve things. Why are they angry? What's the anger? Is that how you receive people when people die? Is that how you help your friends out? How about your employer? Do you treat them like crap? Do you get angry at them if their spouse dies? No, you don't. Angrily rejected questions about whether they were involved with Wortman, denying that they had, word salad, special relationship. What defines a special relationship exactly? What does that mean? Do I have a special relationship with my dog? A special relationship with my friend? A special relationship with the guy down at the convenience store? A special relationship with my girlfriend? A special relationship with you guys? What is a special relationship? Word salad bullshit. RCMP has repeatedly declined interview requests. Is that like they decline working with Harry on the Peggy's Cove Drive for the 23 Angels? That sounds like there's a lot of denying going on, a lot of not answering, a lot of derp, a lot of snow. A lot of bullshit stories coming forward from bullshit people. From McLean's about the withdrawal and did not release details of financial transactions until forced to do so in an action brought by media and organizations seeking to have redactions stripped from warrants. I haven't seen anything financial. Current warrant, current, the one that was released, no. Fuck off. Cease's agent. The RCMP has no details to add about his relationship with very good investigative. It must be like, you know, what was it? Where are we at here? Oh, yeah. No details. All right. They were busy driving around. Fucking around. No details. No details. These people have no details. But you see, do not buy for one moment. I've tried to communicate that clearly since the beginning. Do not buy the incompetence factor. Oh, we're just really bungling idiots over here. Bullshit. You may have made a couple of mistakes that night, but you knew sure as fuck what was going down the entire time. Just as FinTrack did. Everybody knew. Except you, except me, the employers, except the families. I want my underwear back. Quote, we're looking at the gunmans. They're always looking at something. I think they're looking, this is how they look. Their heads up their asses. That's how they look. I'm sorry. I can't keep my composure. I can't be like Harry. I really wish I could. That guy, I have lots of shortcomings in this life. Many. I could really take a big lesson from that man. Wow. Quote, we're looking into the gunman's previous relationships and interactions as part of an ongoing investigation. Part of the ongoing investigation. Investigation into what? A dead man? As Frank so rightfully pointed out, Andrew, is it Carrington or Carrington? Andrew pointed out. Oh, and then he gets kicked out. You can no longer come to the press conferences because you ask questions that challenge us. Do you know that Andrew actually employs those people too? You can't kick him out. You're zero. Hello, Sister C. Said Corporal Lisa Zero. Derp in an email. Of course, always in an email. You know, I can't blame Lisa because Lisa doesn't have any balls. But if she did, they would have been shriveled up and fallen off as she was a man. No balls. A preliminary psychological autopsy. I wonder if that has anything to do with a certain individual I've spoken of. They said it was out of the United States. I've never heard of this garbage, more garbage collector. I want the garbage collector to come in and get this one. Who does this? I want a psychological autopsy. Can you do a psychological autopsy? More distraction techniques. We've conducted a psychological autopsy. You know, this kind of when a warrant is going to be released. Thanks. Wow, you guys are really together over there. But don't buy it. It's all for show. It's all for show. We're just dumb. No. Very good at snowing. RCMP. Bullshit. Conducted by the RCMP concluded that Wortman was an injustice collector. Who did this, by the way? Who did that? Have they ever furnished proof? Have they ever furnished proof? No? Would that be like the financial records from FinTrack? Have they ever furnished proof? No. Do you know how much proof? What is it that the police are supposed to do? Oh, that's right. Not only are they supposed to protect people, they're supposed to get evidence. You know, like the evidence raking with uniformed members just standing around raking lawns and shit. Is that how you do? Is that how you do it? They're supposed to collect evidence. Evidence, like we collect on them. No, they don't. They don't collect evidence. They collect garbage, this kind of garbage, to try and snow you. But with the psych injustice collector, someone who nurses grudges until he explodes in rage. Well, I suppose somebody could say I'm an injustice collector. I certainly am not going around killing anybody. Most people are. They get angry. They're upset at people from time to time. I'm frankly upset with the RCMP. Does that mean I'm going to do anything stupid, violent? No. So stop bullshitting with people. Everybody has things that happen to them in life. Ex-wives that hurt their feelings, kids that say, you don't love me. Does that mean that you're an injustice collector? What the fuck is that? Please provide me in the DSM. Let me see that. Let me just see. DSM. Those of you who know. Okay. Oh. I'm not finding DSM references. The Diagnostic Service Manual doesn't exist. Sounds like a whole bunch of hooey, bullshit, made up crap. Injustice collector doesn't exist. Sorry about that one. Sorry about that. You just invented some more garbage. In July, the Nova Scotia and federal governments promised to establish a public inquiry. July. What were they doing before? They had earlier announced a review. Do you know how long that took them to come up with? The no subpoena without the power to compel testimony. Lisa, you come down, answer questions. No, I don't feel like it. Okay, no problems. But reversed themselves and announced an inquiry after family members protested. Very convenient. How many days was it? 5? So it took them months and months and months and months and months to figure out the garbage where they didn't have to compel anybody to testify. Nobody had to tell the truth. And on top of that, they're 3 hand-picked people, all very friendly with the government and police services. They just moved right over to the inquiry. Isn't that strange? But they just had that one in the back pocket. Oh, yeah, by the way, sorry about that. We just found this one. No. If you think you're going to get the truth out of the inquiry, read up on inquiries. They're all fucked. Whole bunch of hot air. I'm looking for answers, just like you. I want them. I will take anything and everything possible, every avenue, but it better be free from garbage. Families should go and pick who is the commissioner of the inquiry so that they actually have a say in who's running it, not the government, who they employ. Want my underwear back. Former Nova Scotia Chief Justice J. Michael MacDonald and former Fredericton Police Leanne Fitch are to be two of the panelists. Former Deputy Prime Minister Anne McClellan dropped out after the government announced the review would be an inquiry. The government has yet to be named the replacement. How strange. It's only like they invented all this. They've kind of sewn up maybe the other side too. I've talked about that, but I'm trying to work as cooperatively and not sabotage anything that's coming down the pike. I want every available opportunity possible, but I don't see good things. And I assure you, this is all that I do. So, and I've been doing it for years. I know what I'm doing. And I have a lot of good help. Yeah, okay, I'll get all of your underwear. That's awesome. In my will, actually, I have a stipulation for somebody gets a frozen boot. True. They get a frozen boot. I'm sure you can gather what I think of that person. Now, I did want to talk about one last thing. Let's see if I can even do this. There was an article somebody kindly sent me about CSIS. Let's see if we can find it. We should read through it too together. Here's cat. Okay, well, I can't show that, right? I can't show this person's cat, I don't think. Very cute. Thank you for the cat. Now, I would show you because very cute, but where am I here? Thanks again to Leon's interview. By the way, check it out. Very many interesting things in there about Lisa that the mainstream press won't tell you. Have been stifled on, including some people. Anyway, what am I looking for here? Something. I think it would be here. Now, so the article they sent me was called Excessive Secrecy, Inadequate Training at CSIS Among Issues Flagged by Federal Review. Okay? I'm going to have to show you on my phone. Sorry, because there was something funny that happened. Now, read the original article. Okay? I'll just show you as I do this. Okay? So, read the original article. When it came out, I was very excited. And so, of course, I sent the original article, which was on Global. This is now, oh, have you fixed it now? Very interesting. When you clicked on it before, this is what you got. This is the actual URL address. I can see if I can copy and paste it. Copy. Okay, I'll send it to myself over in the Discord. I'll just drop it into the general maybe. Oops. Copied. Okay, now I'm going to send it over on the Discord. I'm very slow at doing things. My apologies, but okay. So here is, I've left it over in the Discord. Those of you can see that. There you go. See? And the original article, let's see, open link. Okay, so here we go. All right, so watching the screen, okay? I'm not playing any funny games with you. You guys can go and try it out, those of you on the Discord. Open link. Okay. Boom. This one I've never seen before. I've seen some pretty funky business. I've never seen this. Somebody informed me when I sent it out to a couple people. I never got to finish reading the article, and they said, well, the link you sent me is dead. And I said, well, that can't possibly be true. Well, I mean, could be true, I suppose. So then I put in the original title, the title of it. So let's go back over here. We'll go back to the Discord. All right, so we'll just copy link, just so you don't have to watch me type, which is painful. And we'll do a search like this. We'll just get rid of the global part, and we'll do this. Okay, this is interesting. All right, now here's an article. Isn't this funny? On global. Oh, they republished the article, took it down, and then republished it again under a different URL. CSIS wasn't very happy with the article. They nixed it. So then they had to put out a new one. Because they're getting smart. You guys are getting smart. 753, updated 754. If you watch Times, right? I talk about these crazy things, just like the Clinton Ellison video. Okay. Now, where is it here? Is this it? He was hunted by a gunman and survived. Do you remember early on? I still have the original videos. I'm going to have to publish this. 6 months ago. This one is 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, did they fix it already from the other day? I was talking about it. 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Maybe they did. Did they actually fucking fix it? Oh my. Oh wow, that's spooky. Okay, well, I'll show you Clinton Ellison's video. I talked about it in a video the other day, so this is probably why it's changed back. Oh, Seamus, you wear tinfoil. Really? People will see. Okay, Clinton Ellison 3.0. Okay. Same article was the other day. DSM. Him. I know that's probably just a typo. Okay. Bear with me.
Yeah, it was about 10 o'clock. They went upstairs to go to bed.
Look at that.
Me and my brother were upstairs listening to music.
You remember
talking.
how I would talk about how watch the background of a video and then you can always tell how it's clipped. CBC literally changed the aspect on their video so you can't see the background. They also decreased the length of the video. 7 minutes, 4 seconds. From a 9-minute, 15-second video.
Gunshot, didn't think anything of it. It's not so long after my father came down, we asked him if
They
he
make
heard a
him
single
sound like he
gunshot.
lost
said
his
no.
phone.
We stepped out front of his house and looked, and we could see a large glow in the sky from a very large fire. My brother said he was going to go up and check it out. My father told him not to. My brother said, "I'll be right back." I was sitting there with my dad. We were waiting and waiting and waiting. My brother didn't come back. Finally, he phoned. And he says, "Listen, the fire's really bad. I'm taking pictures. Call the fire department." And we waited and we waited and we waited. And I walked up the road looking for my brother with a flashlight. My father come with me so far, but he stopped at the end of his driveway and turned around and went back in his house. I walked up looking for my brother with a flashlight. And I could see a body laying on the side of the road. As I got closer, I could see it was my brother.
Sorry, I do have to interrupt for one moment. He saw the body lying where? On the beach? Like the warrants say? No.
Brother. I got one more step closer. I could see blood, and he wasn't moving. I shut my flashlight off. I turned around and I ran for my life in the dark. I went up the first cottage road or street or whatever access to the cottage that I could. I got up there to about a bend, and I stopped. I was exhausted, out of breath. I turned around and looked down towards the road I had just run from to see a little flashlight flashing around looking for me. I ran so hard into the woods. I laid there for approximately at least about 4 hours, hoping and praying that the police would come. The police would come. Finally, after about 4 hours, they got me out of there with an armored vehicle. A nightmare through hell. It's a nightmare through.
That was when they decided to come in. The armored vehicle. They're leaving out things about shots being fired. I don't think that's in this one. Is it?
Hell. I see a lot of people are in a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain and suffering. My heart goes out to the rest of us that are suffering. That's about all I can say.
Tell a story for your loss. I mean, you were lying there. Did you hear anything? Did you see anything?
Gunshots, laying there for hours. All I could hear was explosions from the fires and gunshots coming from all around me. Yeah. It was the most terrifyingest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Almost like Leather said about the exchange of gunfire that night. Oh, I guess he didn't get out on the road. 10:34. Oops. For hours. Fires. Takes a little bit of time to do these things.
To walk up and find my brother dead and to be hunted by this fellow that killed all these people, I'll be traumatized for the rest of my life. I'm having a really hard time with it.
Where was your dad when this was going on?
Hiding in his home. I was lucky enough that when I was hiding, I waited about an hour before I could pull my cell phone out because I didn't want it to light and give my position away. And when I thought it was safe, I phoned my dad and told him, phone the police. I think Rory's shot and dead. And I said, shut the lights off and hide. And he said, yes, I will. I said, don't call me back. I don't want my phone to light up. And I laid on the ground and I nearly froze to death. I had to get out of the Great Village Fire Hall and recover from hypothermia and everything. I'm in shock so bad. I was just allowed to come down today to get my vehicle finally.
What have police been telling you?
Pardon?
What have police been telling you?
Nothing. Basically nothing. I still haven't even got my cell phone back yet. They still have my cell phone. I'm going to call them for that, wanting that back. I'm just in shock.
Can you tell us about your brother?
My brother was a really good guy. He would have been the first to jump, run, go, and help. And for him going to help cost him his life. Yep, cost my brother his life. He was a really good guy. He helped people that he could, and he was disabled. He had a seeing eye disability, and he was a generally good guy. He liked fishing in the outdoors, stuff like that.
And again, he went out after you and your brother heard gunshots. Your father didn't hear a gunshot.
Yep.
And he went out to investigate. Is that what happened?
He went to look at the fire. He wasn't going to look for whoever was firing the guns. He wanted to go and see how bad the fire was.
Firing the guns. Guns.
He went to see how bad the fire was. It cost him his life.
How close to you was the fire?
Very close, except for there was a tree line blocking us. There was a tree line, and I could see the glowing, and then my brother was laying dead on the ground. And as soon as I took one more step and hit the light out on the front of him, I could see a bunch of blood, and I knew he was dead. And I knew from the gunshots I heard earlier that something was really wrong and turned and run for my life.
I thought they were on the beach together. Oops.
Run for my life.
Did you know, now that you know the identity of the shooter?
I did not know the gentleman. I did not know that man. I'm from Halifax. I come up from Halifax. I picked my brother up in Truro to come visit my father for the night. I was going back home to Halifax. I don't know. I don't know anybody in there really.
Your dad lives here full time?
My dad lives in there full time, and my uncle and his wife. Yep.
Are they okay?
Yes, they are okay. Very fortunate. I don't know how they got away.
What do you think this says about the community? What does this mean for us?
This can happen anywhere. This can happen anywhere. Everybody's on edge, especially with the Corona-19. Everybody's really on edge. I don't know what the circumstances were behind that gentleman going off like that, but a lot of people are living on edge. And now a lot of people are going to be living on edge and living in fear.
What do you want to see happen?
Better response. I was watching the news earlier. It really made me sick to my stomach that they didn't put the emergency alert out. If the police had put the emergency alert out, I would have got it on my phone hiding in the woods, and you would have known what was going on. And it could have saved some more lives.
Did you know any of the other victims?
I knew a few of the other victims, and my heart goes out to their families. This is a
cutting all over the place.
Atrocity.
Why?
No, I can't think of anything worse happening in this area. This is usually a peaceful, quiet community.
Did your father and uncle live close to the shooter, do you know?
Not far,
TBC
less
thinks
than a mile.
we're all stupid.
Less than a kilometer. My father knew the fellow, yeah. Yeah.
Did he say anything about it?
Not really.
No, nothing that stood out.
Nothing that I paid attention. I'm still in shock so bad I can barely function. I'm getting no sleep. I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm just terrified. I'm terrified from the whole ordeal. It's gonna scar me for life.
Oh, clip again.
Pick up my vehicle.
More clips.
I had to come down to get my vehicle. I was supposed to get my cell phone too. I haven't had my cell phone. My friends and my family have been trying to get a hold of me through this whole thing. I have no cell phone. When they took me into the armored personnel carrier, they asked. I had my phone in my head with 911, and I laid it down. That's the last I ever saw my cell phone.
They make it sound like he lost his cell phone. They make it sound like he lost it, or that it's just misplaced. You know, he wanted it back. He clearly said they won't give it to me back. I mean, how does the interview get shorter as time goes on? How does that happen exactly? How does the aspect suddenly change on the photo or the interview? Let's see if it's still there. Maybe they have got their head out of their ass and think that people are actually paying attention to their shit. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's see if Elizabeth McMillan's got the... You don't learn less information as time goes on. You learn more. Right? Three different videos for him. 3. Okay. Sorry. I'll drop the link in. They may have fixed it. I was talking about it the other day. So it was just like when you guys remember very early on, those of you who were very early on, and I pointed out that they shortened the video by 1 minute. You guys went and complained, and then they put it back. Do it again. I would. All right, let's see. Oh, this is her second last article, to which there's a link to the video. Oh, no, they still haven't fixed it. 7 minutes, 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was about 10 o'clock. They went upstairs to go to bed. Me and my brother were upstairs listening to music, talking. We heard a single gunshot.
Did you see this video looking like this? Did you ever see it like that? Like it's filmed with a cell phone camera upright? No, they had very professional equipment, which seemed to have some sketchy errors with it. Broke up. You know, like when the armored vehicle came in and things like that, which they got rid of in this one. Do I still have the link to the original video? Absolutely. I'll drop you the link. Where is it here? The Leon, or sorry, the here we go. Unedited CBC video.
Yeah, it was about 10 o'clock. They went upstairs to go to bed.
Okay. Sorry. Looks like I'm catching flies. There we go. So this was the real version. Same thing. Okay. I will drop the link. Please feel free to go over and watch it. Yeah, you can see.
Me and my brother
it's full
were upstairs
screen.
listening to music, talking. We heard a single gunshot and didn't think anything of it. It's not so long
9
after
minutes.
my father came down. We asked him if he heard a
15
single
seconds.
gunshot. He said no. We stepped out front of his house and looked, and
This was the third incarnation that they had. The cell phone bullshit nonsense. Right? Before that, it was 8 minutes, 15 seconds. They shortened it by a minute then. And a bunch of you went out. Let's see if that video just as put a bunch of pressure on, and I think they fixed it then. I still have the, see, here we go. 8 minutes, 16 seconds. Oh, because it has to be put on air. I'm like, no, Globe. Who was it I was talking to? The Globe. 8 minutes and 16 seconds. They're like, oh, no, this is on YouTube. It doesn't have to be clipped. That's very odd. I'm like, oh, are we getting it yet? Are we getting it yet? Oh, did they remove the other one? The 9 minute one? And there was some comments because I said, well, you know, this video is edited. Remember? I said, please go over and make some comments because it's been changed. Where is the 1 minute video that you deleted from the original copy? We have the original. Thank you, Missy. Thank you, Duck. Why did you edit the original video? There's 1 minute missing here. Where is the 1 minute portion that you have deleted from the original video? Speaking as a survivor on how the RCMP failed to protect, I smell propaganda. Downloaded the original video on this very link. You have used YouTube Editor to remove the one portion criticizing the RCMP. Rightfully so. I smell propaganda. This is shorter than the original video you published. Shady RCMP. CBC, why did you edit the 1 minute out? Thank you, all of you that did this. Because you made a difference. They did take note. When you let them know that you are aware of what the fuck is going on and that you're not sleeping, you're not going to let it lie. That other video, sadly, you cannot. Can you comment on it? On the, let's see, maybe you can comment. They don't like people making comments. Yeah, 6 months ago, my ass. No, you've been editing it. This is new, 6 months ago. Really? Okay. Now, there isn't a section in here, I don't think, to comment. Very sadly. However, you could drop the link and tweet them. And that's what Elizabeth McMillan is using as her latest voice of Clinton. Clinton, who was quite clear about what happened. The RCMP dropped the ball, left them alone in there. Before he came out in terror. Oh, Seamus, you're just talking out your ass. Really? Use the logical brain. Logical. Gray cells. How many people again have come out and spoken publicly? Clinton and Leon. 2. And we know that Leon was majorly censored. Still to this day. Those of you who haven't watched that video, please watch it. Because there's some really good details in there. Don't believe that the RCMP are just incompetent. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe the injustice collector. They want you to believe the Brenda crap. They want you to believe how many different stories do they have going? All over the place. All over the place. This organization that was the basically the precursor to what is CSIS. But they have, funnily enough, many powers. Ortez. Steve, do you want to drop your link in about that new program that they have? Would you mind? Of the part of the Project Wide Awake 2.0 data harvesting stuff. Just so people have a rough understanding what kind of surveillance they're under. Maybe it's A. Five Eyes allies raising questions as damage control continues about Cameron Ortiz case. This, of course, being Bob Paulson's smoking and drinking friend that really didn't have any prior RCMP experience. Didn't. Cameron Ortiz, who, of course, was hired after lying in his interview about getting kicked out of the military. Bob Paulson, who became commissioner of the RCMP. This was Cameron Ortiz, is Bob Paulson's friend. senior intelligence official at RCMP charged with security under the Security of Information Act. You know why he was charged? Because the American government and the other 5 eyes, to which I'm sure there are a couple of people in here who know what I'm speaking of, shit all over the Canadian government. They're very angry. Very angry. We've cost them billions of dollars. And not only that, we have placed many of their security operatives at risk. God knows how many may have, in fact, been killed. They're not going to talk about that publicly. They're very angry. So they put pressure on the Canadian government. Maybe that has something to do with some of the other stuff going on south of the border with Canada. Remember how they were not very happy? Maybe that's this nonsense. Oh, but the RCMP, they just hand out tickets, Seamus. They don't do anything serious. Really? 5 eyes. What are the 5 eyes? What are the 5 eyes? 5 eyes. Intelligence alliance comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and United States. These countries are parties to a unilateral UK-USA agreement, a treaty for joint cooperations in signal intelligence. What is signal intelligence? Intelligence gathering by interception of signals, whether communication between people from electronic signals not directly used in communication. Signals intelligence is a subset of intelligence collection management, as sensitive information often is encrypted. This is about as fucking deep as it gets. Not quite, but pretty close. RCMP? Oh, they're nothing. They just hand out tickets or have ongoing investigations or do injustice collecting and psychological autopsies and don't answer questions and scrub articles. What kind of pressure do you think they put on media outlets? CSIS. Let's look at that. Who was it? And track. Tim. Who's gay? Oh, Tim. You American, you. Financial expert. Really? Financial expert, you say? Financial expert. Newly released documents show mass murder was not an RCMP informant. And I will leave the link here for you. How do you think Tim backs that up? Oh, Halfpenny Macquarie. You dirty, dirty dog. Fintrack, blah, 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 blah. Jessica Davis, a securities and intelligence expert who worked at Fintrack, who has her own consulting firm. They always go on from one garbage heap to another. Jessica Davis. Who is that? Jessica Davis. Let's try Fintrack. Oh, here she is. Here's her garbage institution, which is just another extension. Oh, you love the cube. I know Todd loves the cube. Todd understands the cube. Jessica Davis is principal consultant at Insight Threat Intelligence. Jessica draws on her extensive experience in security and intelligence world to bring her clients. I wonder who her clients are. Relevant and timely intelligence and help them deal with uncertainty and complexity. Jessica is an internationally recognized expert on terrorism indicators, women in terrorism, illicit financing, and intelligence services, and analysis. Jessica spent the first 17 years of her career in a Canadian securities and intelligence business, starting in the Canadian Forces. Ooh, Canadian Forces. And transitioning from roles, global affairs. Oh, this is what she's, of course, that's what Tim wants you to believe, right? FinTrack. The ones that don't have the documents, the ones that took how many years to identify suspicious transactions? Oh, that's right. Right after the shooting was done. Oh, what's this? And Canadian Security Intelligence Service. Jessica left CSIS in 2018. What's this garbage? Oh no. Terrorism, security, and society. Because, she deals with all that banking and stuff, right? Kind of like Cameron Ortis is just a smoking friend of Bob Paulson. That one I'll unravel for you another day. What are our clients? Let's see. Do we have a clients list? Women in terrorism. Intelligence analysis. Discipline that can be applied to any organization understanding threats and reduce risks. Insight. Garbage. What was her name again? Oh, right, Jessica. Insight can use its expertise and experience to help your organization efficiently train, deploy, and use intelligence analysis. Thank you very much, Steve. Doesn't sound like banking. Certainly doesn't sound like banking. That was what Tim used to sabotage. The only thing, her word, expert who worked at FinTrack. Well, he kind of left out that she worked in CSIS. The document doesn't say where the cash came from. It's hard to believe that the bank didn't ask. That's just so frustrating. Oh, poo-poo. Poo-poo. It's just incompetence. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Who did she sabotage? Who did Tim sabotage? Asked if FinTrack may have disregarded or overlooked the 2010. Overlooked. 2010 STR, to which they report immediately. Every bank does. Allowing Gabriel Worthman's financial malfeasance to continue. Malfeasance. He's just doing a little bit of, I don't know, like he smuggled a pack of cigarettes or something. things that we're probably all guilty of. Throwing stones. Davis said, maybe FinTrack looked into it. Maybe. There might have not been too many other things. There are too many other things. I can't be certain it's money laundering. How an expert does this woman sound? How expert does she sound? Frankly, I hope it impacts her consulting business, because she certainly sounds like an asshat. But I don't think it will, because she works for the same organization still. She's still collecting a paycheck. I want my underwear back. And I want you fired. Don't fuck around. We're way too smart over here for you. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring you up to speed on some things, because you guys are all so fantastic, and share a couple of things with you. Do hope that you're all having a fantastic weekend. I got a message from somebody I haven't heard from in a long time, who's very helpful. Very. So that underwear probably that you're going to give back to me, I'm hoping. We'll see. You'll be shitting in them. Because she gives me lots of good information. Lots of good information. You know, the ones that you're trying to track down now. Anyway, do hope everything is fine with everybody and you all have a great weekend. No more snow. Lots of fuckery, of course. Can we petition in underwear back? Rat escaping sinking ship. They have an inquiry when the heat dies down, so the case is if it's closed. Inquiries, yeah, as soon as it will progress as you die away. Not literally, I do hope. Enough dying in this story. Lots of dying. Lots of tragedy. It needs to stop. I don't like financing it, frankly. Sorry. I know you don't either. Trying to make all people that will have to testify magically disappear before the inquiry can happen. I don't know. Steve, do you want to talk to how many people that magically disappeared? Steve would know better than I do. Much better. He's talked to a few. Definitely. I talked to a couple. They kind of go away. Why? Boom. Great interview. Great interview. Going to hear the stuff in there that you're not going to hear. I suspect on the CBC, Fifth Estate's not going to do that. They'll do something like, what was it? Oh, right. This kind of thing. You know, 7 minutes. Those details kind of seem to get left out. She's not injured, etc., etc. There is definitely some more stuff, but I don't think we can get into that at this point in time. Late to the party, starting from the beginning. Kitty cat. Kitty cat. Oh, I think they gave her more than $175. Anyway. COVID here. North 5. New Brunswick. Essential worker. So keeping low key on days off. Well, I'm very glad that you joined us, Francis. And if you can help me by passing along the message, that would be great. I would ask you to sign up for my BitChute channel, but that seems to have got deleted. Anyway, have a fantastic weekend. God bless everybody.